streaming live on YouTube now. So
Very well.
everything that you see on that TV is broadcast on there. So, and he's also gonna make it eventually we can put documents.
Right.
We can split the screen and people will be able to see
Oh, I see what you're
documents
doing.
that we want them to see and that kind of stuff
Sure.
as well, but
Very
we
good.
haven't gotten there yet.
Okay. Are we ready to start? I'm here we lost Dan. So. Hey, Dan? Yeah. I didn't get it.
You're allowed to start without Dan since he's
So,
not
I didn't
technically.
get an email from him, so. Alright, so, go ahead and call the meeting to order at 6:37. And did everyone get a agenda? I have extra copies up here in the front. Do you mind giving them?
Sure, no problem.
Thank you.
Of each, one of each, or just this?
Just
Okay.
agenda, yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you. Okay, so first up on our agenda is to do roll call, so.
Thank you.
Cindy,
Here.
Doug,
Here,
George, here, Leanne, Nick,
Here.
Rob,
here,
and Steve.
here.
Very good. All right, second up on our
Don't forget to pledge allegiance.
pledge of allegiance. Okay. We pledge allegiance. All right, let's stand for our pledge of allegiance. Pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Thanks for reminding. Okay, did everyone get a copy of the minutes for the September and October? The members? Do you have one? Okay, very good. All right, any objections to those minutes or changes? All right, thanks Rob for taking those, and appreciate it. So you go ahead and put those on the website. Okay. All right, next up we have Moran subdivision. We need
No, I think this meeting was scheduled for 7.
6:30. We
Oh.
changed it to 6:30 a long time ago.
Was it published? I think it was published for 7 o'clock.
Really? Oh, okay. Should we hang tight then?
15 feet.
Between property lines, right?
Side
Have
yard,
you got,
15
I
feet.
do it.
15.
That's what I'm saying, so
Did
that's
it
what
change
those
on the
need to be
website to
moved.
6:30?
Yeah.
We
See,
changed
I
that
don't see
like
why he's got this
6
big
months
one
ago
here,
or
that's
so.
what I didn't understand.
Well, it says on the website.
Closest to the park.
But I didn't send the public hearing notice to the paper. I know whoever sent that public hearing notice to the paper probably was either Dan or Jenny. That would have been the time that
Okay.
is so important. We can do other
So,
non-related business. But
Dan. So did you put it in the paper that it was at 7?
I'm getting ready to verify that right
Okay.
now, George. I didn't put it in the paper.
Oh,
They did.
who's the Moran?
This is the Darnells, William and Della Darnell.
Uh-huh.
They're the ones looking for a variance.
The
for
variance part of it?
BZA.
Okay.
Yeah,
So maybe we
it did
just,
say 7 on
it's
it.
7,
Uh-huh.
so we'll need to wait till 7 for the BZA part of it then.
Is that what, do you guys remember? It was 7, right?
Yeah, I looked to make sure it was 1.
Brad. Okay. That's why I just texted him.
So-
Where he was. But he may think it's 7 too.
I think the Moran, Dan was, Moran's gonna be here this evening?
Yeah, it's 7.
7, all right. So do we hold the stream till,
Well, you're allowed to conduct other non-relevant business to the public hearing part
Right.
before that if you'd like, so you can skip on your agenda to things
just
that are
skip to
not
the-
related to
To those two items,
those two issues, and then
we'll come back.
we can, yeah, so.
All right, so we'll move to 5 then, which was the UDO. We had talked a couple meetings ago about the fees. I just wanted to touch base on that. Any input that we need to talk about for that?
No.
Okay, so I'll skip over that. And then, I was gonna open up for item 6 was new business that wouldn't be pertaining to the public meetings that were noticed. Anything, Dan, that's not gonna be those 2 items, 3 and 4, which is Moran and Darnell? Is there anything new that we need to bring up to the, members?
Well, we will have another, meeting in, December for a, special use variance for a property on Ohio Street. It's a single-family home that they wanna turn into a double, and that's in the R5 Old Town, and that's only permitted with a special variance, special use granted. So that'll be on the agenda in December.
Okay. All right, I'll note that. The other item I want to bring up is for everyone to be thinking on terms of next month is we need to vote for who's gonna be, officers, president, vice president, secretary, those things, so that we start off January, with a good foot. So, need to decide who wants to take over this seat primarily, and run the show, cause I've been doing this since day one it started, so I'd like to give someone else a chance to be up and run, so, I've been on here 15, 17 years, something like that, so. Any volunteers, what are you thinking? Okay, and then I was gonna open up, to anyone else, members, anybody want to bring up anything that is outside of the scope? So you guys got your building over there, so that coming along nicely, see a lot of action going on, so.
We were over there just doing some final cleaning, and we have to, put the kitchenette in. We're finishing up the kitchenette in the back room, and then we were supposed to have it ready by today, but we ran into some delays, and so we told her we need another week, so.
Okay.
But she'll open her little store soon with a few little vendors in there.
I'm gonna say, you said there's gonna be, what, 3 different, kind of activities going on in the one
She has
shop?
2 or 3 vendors in there, stained glass and, Cricut t-shirt printing, and she does, vintage and reclaimed wood furniture, that kind of thing, and then she also sells, vintage clothing, a lot of handmade items. And then in the bigger one, where the overhead door is, I have to finish doing the facade. It'll be a while before we can paint the entire structure, it's like 20,000 feet, but we're doing what we can in pieces, but,
So are they taking over the whole that whole building over
No,
there,
no,
just that one corner?
they're just gonna have that end
Yeah.
building that we're finished with, and then Jeff and I are primarily going to, create a kind of maybe a vintage and a mall, like a, antique mall, vintage mall, that kind of thing. People can rent booth area, and we're gonna have an event center up in the front eventually that people can rent out for different events. And then the brick building, the ironstone building, we're hoping, we just don't wanna take on another restaurant. We've done a restaurant before, but it'd be awesome if somebody wanted to do a barbecue or a pizza place in there or something.
And which section's that?
That's that standalone brick building, it's ironstone brick building. that
Oh,
right
on the
now-
back side,
Right now, it's just full
Yeah.
of, a gentleman's things, but,
yeah.
and it has to be, we have all the mortar repaired and everything, but then we'll work on the inside when he gets his things out and change the look of it. But all those windows and doors are underneath all that metal, so the original windows and everything, so
Wow,
it's really cool in there. It's messed up, needs to all be redone, but at least we saved the bricks. There was a lot of mortar that was missing, so.
yeah. I see a lot of, places doing that now, to where they're taking the old vintage and just, making it clean
Yeah.
and, leaving that as the style, and it looks good.
We were able to uncover the brick chimney and make it look really beautiful. We pulled off all the old reclaimed wood that was in there that was hanging, vertically. We pulled it off, stored it until we were done repairing everything, and then we put a metal on the ceiling, and then we put the barn wood back up across the top horizontally. And
Nice.
so we were able to hold on, and then the when we took the false ceiling out, which was like around this kind, we were able to see the original windows. So there's two really old original windows up there that swing in. They're really cool. So we gained 3 feet in ceiling height, and it looks really good. So
Nice. Good. And your shop's doing well?
it is. It slowed down because of COVID. When when the automotive didn't do well, that slowed down. We lost some of our customers, but now it's starting to come back. So eventually, we'll leave our full-time jobs and just do that. God willing. So
There you go. Wonderful.
that's why I'm covered in dust. I was over there working.
It's all hands on decks for a while now.
Yes. Yeah.
Guess we just all sit and look pretty for a while, huh?
So there's no upcoming
pretty
paving
hard for me.
projects or sewer storms, any storm drains,
So-
or anything that's coming up next year that we need to start looking at planning, or the annexation stuff we need to revisit. I mean, we have a idea of when we might get back to that, or has that been shelved?
So, yeah, from the sewer standpoint, that's all ongoing right now, that's, activity's already started. So they're actually cleaning out the lines right now, and they're gonna do, inspection after they're cleaned out.
Cool.
And then we'll be, do an assessment after that to figure out, which percentage of the ones we wanna go after, and I don't know, Doug, that'll be on our next, I'm sure
I
we'll
just
get a
didn't know
good
if there
update
was
on that
anything
next Thursday.
We need to discuss for next year, for projects.
Yep.
Type thing. But then back with the annexation, are we
Yeah,
gonna?
you couldn't do anything this year, much on the annexation, but next year, because it, it was because of the, census, I think
Right.
this year is what we couldn't do anything, so next year, that kind of probably whoever's gonna be president and get some things going and start thinking in those lines of where we wanna go. I think most of the groundwork's already been done, so annexing and going out would be probably priority one. New business wise, I'm not sure, you hear a lot of these towns and stuff that, go out and drive and get businesses to come in and communities, but, we certainly got the infrastructure, that can handle it on the waste side or the sewer side, the water's where we really hurt and struggle.
Well, on the ground, we don't have very much ground.
And parking.
Parking's hard,
It's
as you're trying to grow your business, parking within town limits is difficult at best. Even like, take for instance our neighbor Plainfield over there, they're limited, they're trying to grow the downtown, so they had to go with a elevated parking garage.
We were asked about that when the potential renters came by. They're like, well, where would the customers park? Where would we park? And that is going to be an issue, especially as we develop that, because it's about a half a block of commercial property.
Right.
We're like, where are we gonna put all the cars? That's gonna be a deterrent, so, yeah.
What about for your shop area? Are you guys looking at changing the gravel over to paved or
If we could-
somehow so you can
if-
market and
If we
use
could
it for your
afford
own
that, we would.
customers?
That's what we'd like to do. We also would really love to, what our plan was a few years ago was to open that up to the community as a farmer's market, at least, 10 weekends from spring to fall, and then,
Okay.
so I don't know what we would do without some parking, so.
I always thought it'd be nice that, when we own the property and stuff, to have weekend events or something,
Yeah.
a vendor come in and just do something special.
We'd love to, and
Yeah.
we're hoping to turn the little courtyard in between all the buildings into something
Right.
like, maybe even
I
some
kinda
live
wanted to-
music and.
Yeah, some kind of even a setting area in a grassy knoll area or something, and
That's what we're
just
hoping.
people could kinda hang out.
Fountain, maybe even a
Yeah.
little bit of a fire feature or something, just something to draw the community in, but I don't know where the cars would park,
Right.
so.
So anybody have any ideas for that, dilemma?
The only thing is,
As you face the same problem,
the only
down-
thing you
down
have,
there.
you have two choices. Choice number one, the town has to come up with the money to buy people's property up and level their houses, or choice number two, us business owners have to come up with the money to buy it ourselves and level the houses.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the only options you got,
Yeah.
cause there's no, only town property we have is the park,
Right,
Yeah.
right? I mean,
that's it.
that's ground,
Well, this property here, but,
yeah.
And, yeah, and I'm sure Franklin, places like that that do have a big draw where people are out walking around, and, cause my girls and I, and even my husband, we love to peruse that, but you've gotta find your parking spot and then walk up and down, but at least there is parking available, and there's so many buildings that you're hitting, that every few steps you're hitting a building. We're obviously not gonna have that here, but you will get more vendors down here, you will get more businesses coming to this area if they know that there's gonna be a place for the cars to go, and people can push their children in their stroller. Nobody's gonna wanna go in inclement weather 2 blocks, you know?
yeah.
So.
And you checked into the property, across the street there?
Yeah, he
Yeah.
said he would sell it, but not for it to be leveled.
See, that'd be prime, I mean,
It'd be perfect,
you
that's
know,
what,
that,
yeah.
both lots, that first lot and the back lot, you'd have a huge,
Yeah.
Once he sells the property, how does he have any choice over what happens to it after that?
That's true, it's just if he said it's contingent upon.
If you sell your property,
changed
you
my
have no
mind.
longer, you no longer have a say in what happens
I just
to it.
wouldn't wanna give him my word and then not honor that. If he said, I'll
Okay.
sell it to you, Cindy, but you can't tear it down, then that's just how I am, I would feel terrible, so I wouldn't do that. But if I could talk him into just letting the town buy it and letting it turn into parking, I think it would benefit everybody, but he's already told me twice. I'll sell you that house, I'll give you a good price, just don't tear it down. I'm like,
He's-
I have no use for the house.
do
I
you
mean, it's
say,
a condemned house,
do you
right?
say that on both of them?
He didn't mention his other one, he didn't mention another house, he said that house was perfectly.
Cause he owned the one facing on 39 and then one directly,
Oh,
east of that.
Okay,
I don't know if he still owns that one now, but both of those,
oh, okay, he didn't mention
cause
that.
there's one in the middle, right? You've got the
Right,
one here and then you got a house and then the one on the next corner.
I gotcha. He didn't mention that one, but he has mentioned a couple times to both Jeff and I that I'll give you guys that house, a really good price, just don't tear it down. So,
Just get out living.
Alright. So you
I hate
update-
to
I
say
don't know,
that.
this year's been so stressful,
We
I
thought
don't
we
know
were
how to
starting
get
at
out.
6:30, cause we've been starting at 6:30, but
Oh.
apparently it's at 7, so I already took roll call, so we'll just add you to the,
Okay.
I'll do roll call official, Leanne?
Here?
Alright. Fantastic.
Does anybody know what's going on at the old cafe? Just out of curiosity, I saw
I mean, he's
a
put up
more
a
sticker
sign
that looked like for
asking
liquor
for a
license.
public hearing on his, liquor sales, so.
Is it gonna be like a bar and eatery or something, or did it sell, I guess is my
I thought it was
question.
selling to the guy across the street from us that had the metal roofing, he didn't buy it.
I don't know.
No, a gentleman who owns a hotel and a packaged liquor store in Indianapolis has, purchased it.
Oh, wow.
He's made a
So-
deal with the Presbyterian Church cause he can't sell alcohol within 200 feet of a church without a waiver. The Presbyterian Church granted him a waiver as long as he doesn't sell alcohol during church events. He doesn't sell alcohol, during times when the food pantry is serving their customers. And what was, there's 3, I thought. So,
So what's
he's
it-
made some deals with the Presbyterian Church and the food pantry to try and be sensitive to, you know, the events going on in those buildings.
So is it just a liquor store then?
No, he wants it to be a restaurant also. He doesn't know,
Oh, good.
he doesn't have a, style of cuisine yet. He's kinda open to suggestions, he said. He'd make it whatever people wanted. I don't know where he's getting suggestions from, but I don't know if he's gonna do that
That's
at
good news.
his public hearing, but on the window
I
of the
seen that the other
cafeteria
day,
is
is what I
a
asked.
big pink sign saying public hearing for the liquor sales part. So if you wanted to know more about when that's happening.
Yeah, I
you
just
can
seen
go
that, I
read
knew that
sign.
that was for liquor, I didn't know what new was.
Right, so that's what's happening with it as far as I know, and
Was the conversation about the restaurant?
Yeah.
Clayton Cafe.
They had major problem with the sanitary sewer down there, and it backed up into the building for days and days and days at
Oh,
a time.
no.
So they have a mess in there to clean up. We just gotta fix it. Tony just fixed it today.
I saw them in the middle of the road.
Yeah.
So, where's the blockage, on the town side or inside the building?
No, it was in the street, just right outside from the main.
Their lateral goes all the way across the street
Yeah.
to the west side of the street,
Yeah.
and that's right in that area is where the blockage was.
Was you working on that on like Friday or Saturday?
Today.
Okay. Cause I saw somebody down.
Well, we were down there Saturday and did a camera inspection trying to figure out
Okay.
where the blockage was. So we knew where to start digging. So there were a bunch of people down there on Saturday too. But yeah, it's a mess. Fortunately, most of the waste just ran across the floor and down into the basement. So,
Where was it coming from though? Is it from the apartment upstairs?
yeah, all 4 apartments were functioning and nothing,
Oh,
the waste had nowhere to go. It was actually coming up through a shower drain and a floor drain back in the kitchen area.
yeah.
Ooh.
So,
So
yeah,
does Ryan still own that building now, or does the other guy own it?
Ryan
still
still owns
Ryan's.
it, yeah. Yeah,
Hmm.
so. It's the same gentleman that owned the liquor store, or
I
had
think
the
there's somebody,
license
can you
for
go
the
grab the
liquor
door by
store
chance?
over here.
Somebody's trying to get in. Yep, there they go.
Are we late? Or was it supposed to start at 7?
No, there was a confusion.
Oh, that's fine.
I'd had it was supposed to start at 6:30. That's when we've been having our meetings, but 7's good because that's,
Alright.
so we're
I
good. We're just
apologize.
kind of holding, no, you're good. You're good. I think that's what got published in the paper and everything, so we covered other business. So, waiting for 2 more minutes. 7 o'clock. So let everyone from out there can see the new big screen TVs.
Yeah. Wow.
Why so many?
Yeah. And then two in the rear facing as well, so.
I noticed that.
Can never have too many TVs.
Just wait, you gotta put, sports channel on each one of them, right?
Just making sure I'm out of camera view.
Get that into that,
No, I've been busy today, so I didn't end up checking.
so that's meringue. and
Okay,
then
I got half a meringue.
That's the meringue right there.
Okay, so
And then this other one is
still
for,
online, so that's not
the variance,
actually what the building.
but that's for the BZA, not
Okay.
Just tell me what the issue I know, so you gotta move that, yeah. Yes, no, you're right. No, he's not going to, they're just gonna get.
It really should, have to be on camera.
Yeah,
If he wants to.
actually,
Yeah.
yeah. Do we have enough room?
Probably not.
Yeah. We'll scoot over a little
Unless we
bit.
have mass.
I guess, do you guys wanna join up and Cindy will make it all official?
Oh.
Scooch over. Should be on camera.
Sorry, oh, yeah.
I think we have to mask it. I don't know. I'll slide over again. Okay. We'll get reshuffled around here so all the members are up here at the table. We good? Alright, so we have 7 o'clock, so we'll actually resume our meeting. Dan, kinda need some assistance on this. I think we have 2 things that are kinda different, but we have the Moraine subdivision. So we wanna cover that first? Or Moraine subdivision, we got it, and then we have the Darnell.
Right.
So I'm thinking just go ahead and continue since we have the meeting open for this,
For the plan
Yeah,
commission, go
for-
ahead and take care of Tony and.
Tony, and then we can, adjourn, set aside, and then you can do the BZA.
Yeah, we'll just close out the plan commission and open the
You
BZA.
don't have to adjourn, you just stay,
Stay.
I'm closing planning meeting,
Open
opening
the other one.
BZA meeting.
Okay, let's go with that, so, go with the Moraines
Okay,
first.
well,
So, all right, does anyone have a copy, and we've discussed this a couple of times before, so, I think all the paperwork's in now, and it's, all official.
except, yeah, he's submitted all his paperwork in the subdivision. He's had everything notarized, done his public notices. What he's waiting for now is an okay from you guys, but Rob brought up, where'd you go, Rob? There he is. Brought up the fact that, this shows a 5 foot, actually 10 feet between the two buildings. Am I reading this right?
No, between the two.
He's calling it the building line, 20-foot building line.
It says 5 and 5 between them.
Yeah, that was just an added.
Because there's a 15-foot setback from the building to the property
There's a
line.
30-foot setback from center of the road,
Right,
and then we just,
yeah, between the lots, there has to be a 15-foot setback from the property line.
which the building area is a setback, I guess, if that makes sense, as far as the,
So
that
what
was
you're
just kind
saying,
of
this is the area they can build in, but they're still gonna have to have another 10
a
feet.
swell easement, yes.
Okay.
Just for basically, Rick, when he drew it up, thought
Okay.
maybe in case there would be utilities, which there won't be any utilities going between them, but
So you're really not calling that a building line, that's more of
no,
an easement line?
that, yeah.
And,
And then also, let's see on the very back, it has a 15-foot building line on that, which, I believe it states, basically for the detached structures. So like, that's basically an extra easement on the back, so they can't have,
So they can't have it sitting right on the line?
exactly.
Oh, okay. Okay, I see what you're saying. So that's really not the building, okay,
Yep.
that makes sense.
okay,
So the plan is you're just cutting the ground, somebody else will have to come in and build, and
Yep.
there's guidelines for them.
Yes.
So when they go to build, they have to use the 15 foot.
right,
Right.
they have to
That has
do
nothing
the,
to do with this. This is more of an easement for drainage, and
Right.
that makes a
Right.
lot of sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah. So, now you guys need to decide whether you want to allow it or not. And there's an application for, or a finding of fact, a recommendation by the plan commission, and it asks several questions, and I'll go through these, and then you guys can decide whether you agree or not. And it's, the request is or is not consistent with the Clayton Comprehensive Plan. And it is. I mean, it's a residential area with plenty of room to build these. And then again, the request is or is not consistent with the current conditions and the character of the structures and uses in the zoning district. Basically, does it mesh with the rest of the neighborhood? Which basically it does. And then the request is or isn't consistent with the most desirable use for which the land is, land in each district is adapted. So it's an R2 district. There's no reason why, you know, he shouldn't be, I mean, the most desirable use would be that if he gave it to Clayton and we extended our park, but I don't see that happening, so.
Hint, hint.
Yeah. And then the request is or is not consistent with conservation of property values throughout the jurisdiction. And you can see from his plan that, you know, these are gonna be built similar to what Gilbert Woods built like. I mean, no outside, no midi barns, and they have a lot of, conditions down here.
It's kind of really an extension of what's already there.
Yeah. And the request is consistent, is or is not consistent with the responsible growth and development, which, again, I think it is. I mean, he's got 8 acres up there, and how much are you cutting out of that? Yeah. So,
Okay. Anybody have any questions, any members?
is there anyone here who has any objections to this? And I've received no notice from anybody that, and like I said, it's published on site, and then it was also published in the paper, so.
Very good. All right, so we've checked our boxes, done our diligence.
When you talk about R2, here, how does our UDO define R2 as a zone?
We don't have a UDO, first of all.
Well,
So-
not yet, but we will.
Huh?
We will.
Right. Yes, we will. But, you know, we can't, so you wanna know how, R2 is described? Okay, R2 Single Family Residential District is established to promote and maintain neighborhoods within the town of Clayton by the development of a variety of housing types, including medium to large lot, single-family dwellings, accessory uses, and limited public and institutional uses that are compatible with the surrounding residential neighborhoods. The development standards and range of permitted uses in this district provide for a mixture of housing opportunities similar in scale with a density ranging from 2 to 3 dwellings per acre. So,
Very good. Thanks.
oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, he's got minimum square footages laid out here, what the property has to be, basically what it needs to look like, so I think it is. But then I'm not the plan commission.
I'd make a motion, we accept the Moraine subdivision.
First, any, have a second? Nick, second? So we'll do it official, so.
Yeah. You guys understand that your approval, and now it goes to the town
Bring it
council.
up to the town next,
Right, well,
Thursday.
but this is what this is, if you sign it as president and have the secretary, and basically that is making a recommendation to the town council, so.
Let's do it all official, everyone that agrees with it, so aye.
Aye.
Everyone- Okay, so. All opposed? All right, so I'll sign it, then we'll bring it up,
Yeah, I'd like to get that back when after you signed it, so I can make sure I get copies of it.
and, the secretary of our board, or who's secretary?
Yes, do it.
Okay.
A second person on this planning commission.
Okay, so, I said it would be next Thursday, it's not next Thursday, is it?
The 12th.
It's the 12th, so we're 2 weeks out, so it's the second Thursday of the month. So we'll bring this up to them and present it and make it all official. Okay. Alright, so that's all on that agenda. Okay, so now we need to close the, meeting then. You said that's the best way to do it, just close it? Or
You're just
turn
closing
it
the
over?
regular planning and zoning advisory board meeting and then opening
Okay.
BZA.
Alright, so 7:10, we'll close the regular, planning zoning and open up with the BZA. So I think, Rob, are you on the
Yeah,
BZA?
Rob,
and
me,
then-
Rob, and Brad's not here, but he's sick, so.
Okay, so I'll turn it over to you guys to go ahead and run with the, Darnell variance.
We're here tonight to look at the William and Della Darnell variance special exception application for a garage at 69 Crawford Street.
161.
169, I'm sorry, 169 Crawford Street. Basically, the reason we're having to have this meeting is in our guidelines, we have a ruling of structure has to be, that additional structures can't be more than, was it 50% of what the existing structure is. And the home's just under 1,000 square feet, and they're looking to put a three-car garage on, which is actually exceeding the space there. Huh? The square footage, yes. Just a couple things I wanna make recognition of is I know it's R5 zoning, but these lots are actually, the two lots are actually double of what a typical R5 zoning lot is in that area of town. So there's what, close to a
The,
half acre there?
the maximum, or the minimum, square footage for a, home in an R5 district is 5,000 square feet. And I did the math on this, and they're at about 14,000 square feet. When they put the structure on there, they'll be around 3,000 square feet. So they have plenty of room to build it. The issue is that ordinance that says, and our ordinance also says to be able to do this, they need a special use granted by the BZA to be able to do that.
Do you know what
And-
ordinance that is? Do you know what ordinance that is?
I'd have to look it up.
Okay, I was just gonna, sorry.
But what ordinance requires the special exception or the special use? It's not really an ordinance.
Oh, okay.
There's an ordinance that says an accessory structure can't be more than 50% the size of the primary structure. But then there's also an ordinance that says if you're in R5, for instance, in R2, lot coverage is 35%. So if you have 15,000 square feet, you can build on 35% of that. Well, R5, because the lots are so small, they allow you to build on 75%, just because you have such a small area to deal with. That's not the situation with them. They have just under what the minimum is for R2, just under that 15,000 square feet.
So basically, we've got a lot of space here, you know, just.
And something else I'd like to point out too is they're building this garage in the same spot where one was taken down.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
So,
that's- okay.
you know, they're just replacing a building that,
So is that, is this the garage here?
no,
Or
that's the house.
Okay,
And then this is the garage that was there. That's just the storage shed back
okay.
there.
So this is, the
Yeah, so it's, like I said, it's kind of hard to,
so it's kind of in the middle of the property where the other garage was.
Yes, it's where
And
the
what
other
size was the other garage?
It was too far.
A 2-car, so you're basically just going to a 3-car garage from a
Yeah,
2-car.
yeah.
Any comments, Nick? Or? It's just you and me, brother.
Well, just building the garage where all the offsets for putting the structure in from the edges of the property.
Yeah, we don't have any
We're
issue with
within-
edges of property or setbacks or anything like that.
No.
No, we're gonna be in more than.
yeah, they'll be more than far enough away from the side yard, front yard. They're not
You know,
even,
obviously, if there was a garage there, they've already had access to it through a drive.
it's an
So
alley.
there's no
Yeah.
new drive that has to be put in or no new,
Mm-mm.
none of that.
Yeah, if y'all would like to go ahead and asphalt that alley there.
Yeah.
See, Nick? See what you did?
Uh,
I don't, that's not an issue with it,
Yeah.
since it falls within, you know, they're not trying to put it up on their neighbor,
right.
you know, too close to the property line, or adding a drive to get to it, and they're replacing their I know they're making a bigger square footage,
They replaced
they're
one building.
replacing a structure that was there.
Right.
I don't see an issue with that.
Because the other structure probably exceeded that square footage anyway, didn't it?
Yeah, it was gone when I actually got
okay,
involved
so-
in the whole thing,
okay.
so I'm not
You know,
exactly
I mean,
sure.
how big was the other garage? You said it's a 2-car, so.
It was 2 cars, it was,
What, 30 by
It
30?
was a still.
22 by 24 is what it was.
Okay. So.
And they're gonna do a 30 by 40,
Okay.
so.
I assume it's gonna, the siding and all that's gonna match the house, it's gonna be a vinyl sided building or?
There'll be no tie-ins,
It's all gonna be white. And green.
Yeah, I just meant as far as it's not gonna be
yeah, I'm gonna have.
different
I'm gonna
siding
have
or anything that would cause an
I've
issue with anybody, you know what I mean, like the,
I've got a buried electric line running to it, but there'll be no sewer, no water.
right, it's just a garage.
Yeah, okay. Well, with the two of us here, Nick, I guess you,
I don't see a problem with it. I'm in favor of allowing it.
so we need to make a motion
Make a motion,
to accept the Darnell's proposal.
yes. All in favor?
Since there's only two of you, you don't have to have a second.
Don't have to have a second, okay. So all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So I'm gonna say we grant the special exception.
There's a list of similar questions that are asked.
Yeah.
I took the liberty of filling it out basically, but
Yes. You and I had some extensive conversations about this with Nick and, as well, and even Brad, if I remember right, and we talked about all these.
yeah, I said, don't say anything about his driveway or he'll want us to pave it.
But you know, I gotta start something.
And if you guys wanted to put stipulations on it, you
We
could,
don't
but
know that we have anything to put on that.
especially when you're basically replacing one garage with another one that's
Right.
just a little
We're-
bigger.
Yeah, exactly.
I saw that signature. See, that's why they have you print it. but
Yeah, I know.
I'm gonna take this if you're done with it, Doug.
Yes.
That gets you. We have nothing else for the appeals board, right?
No, that's it.
Okay.
Done with that?
Yes, we're done.
7/19, close the BZA variance meeting.
Same thing will happen. This will go before the, town council on the 12th at our next meeting with their recommendation. So if everything goes right on the 13th, I'll be able to issue you a permit.
Okay.
So, we're officially closed, right?
Yes.
Not
So
until
I
you
need to
officially-
open it back up, cause to make sure nobody else has anything, so I'll open back up the 7:19 Open back up the, planning and zoning meeting. Alright, so, any other business from the floor? Anyone have anything else to bring up? No? Dan, any last comments or thoughts on anything?
Nope.
Okay, anything from the members? Nope.
Annexation, did you guys talk about that?
No.
Do we have anything to,
We touched on it and there was nothing
We
there.
I
touched on
asked
it.
about it, I didn't know what our, I was asking what our thoughts were going into next year, what we were gonna try to accomplish, or what we needed to do, cause I know at one point we had left off with, I know it was my idea, but the pros and cons list, you know, to
Yeah.
better help people that we wanna annex, understand why they would wanna be part of the town and not, or versus not being part of the town. I didn't know where we're at with that.
does anybody know why it's kind of stalled? I mean,
So it was because of the census, so next year I'm understanding we can pick back up and take off with it.
Yeah, we couldn't have
Make it
annexed this
official.
year if we wanted to because of the census.
The census held it
You
up,
can't
so-
annex in the census year, unless it's super voluntary. I think that's the only way you can do
One, I
that.
think it's not having meetings also shut everything down too, discussions of it because of
Yeah,
the
with
shutdown,
the
that really
virus, we
killed it.
really.
yeah,
So that's why I didn't know if we had anything to look at to.
I think that's something we need to put on our 2021 calendar
Yeah.
is a regular, I guess, drive a little bit, and maybe we can come up with some kind of plan of how to maybe find some interest. If the building projects keep going the way they are, I mean, I think that maybe there would be some interest, at least on the Pinner Place, for some housing.
Yeah.
if we can find somebody, a small enough developer that wants to do that,
Sure enough.
so.
I, talking about housing and stuff, I looked back over some previous things from years ago where the Clayton Commons was, going to go in. The, owner of that property that was, kind of moving that along with Kraus Consulting and such, he died in a car crash last August, not 2020, but 2019. So his son runs JNC Custom Homes,
Okay.
and so I don't know if anybody knows him or is familiar enough to maybe make contact and see if after, since this has been a little over a year since the dad passed away, if they're interested in looking at picking that back up. I know from looking over all the documents, they had just gotten a zoning change from this group, and then it just kind of stopped moving forward.
Well, there was some question at a time, they were doing some core samples, because at one time that was somewhat known as a local landfill. And the engineering firm, cause they come down and talk to me and several other guys about, does anybody know what used to be back there? And, they were doing core samples, but, I don't know where that came out to. Who did you have as the owner of the last name as the owner of the previous? Or,
Now I don't remember, but I talked to the person from Kraus Consulting
okay,
who had kind of started that
cause
process.
Mike Eaton was involved in there somewhere, and I don't know where, and I know Mike's not, he's not dead, I just,
Not Kraus, Cruz, I guess.
Cruise Consulting,
Cruise
Cruise
Consulting.
Consulting, yeah.
But he was the one who told me that the gentleman had
Had
passed away in
passed,
a car
okay.
crash in August of 2019.
Be
So,
definitely something maybe to revisit with the heirs and see if, especially if he's in the home business. See
yeah,
if
he
he's-
owns and operates JNC Custom Homes in Danville.
JNC Custom Homes, I don't know that name, but I just don't know that name.
They have a couple of their signs in front of a little apartment complex right on 39 as you go into Danville from the
Mhm.
south side. Also next to as you start down that hill towards the laundromat and from the speedway,
Mhm.
that apartment complex on the south side of the road is also owned by JNC Custom Homes, or at least they have their sign.
They have their sign there.
Of that building. It's like an 8-unit apartment thing, but so I didn't know if, since other people have been around this area longer than I have, if that was somebody people were familiar with.
No, no,
Okay. Alright, just a thought.
Yeah,
I didn't know if, that property still is just sitting there.
cause we had that all platted and zoned, if I remember
Yeah.
right.
Oh yeah, and the drawings were impressive. They,
Drawings
I mean,
were done.
the drawings from Cruise Consulting, I mean, there's a fountain in the middle of, the road splits to go around the little water fountain, and they have
There's a green area as well.
duplexes and-
Yeah.
Yeah,
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 so-
remember the green area, yeah.
I was pretty impressed with all the work they had done to design all the homes and that, but
Did have
There
one,
again, without us even having city water, they were going to be able to develop that, I think on 3 wells, is what they were looking at. And
Well, that's one thing we do have is plenty of water in this
So-
town, so.
you got water, Kenders does do something, we don't have, city water per se yet, development could still happen. So,
Well, yeah, I think, if you've got half-acre lots, you can easily support a well.
right,
Since we have the sewer, you don't have near the restrictions as to where to put it. So.
yeah, absolutely. Okay, any more closing thoughts?
just one question,
Sure.
that was old, that, just reading over, did the, town council or whoever was cause it was brought up about the site right here, trying to pull out this tree, blocking people's sight.
Oh,
Did that move along any farther with, or did it just kinda
It's
get?
getting cut down, the tree.
It is? Okay, good. Just curious, especially with bad weather coming.
It's got needle cast anyway, so the tree's.
dying anyway, yeah.
It's done.
Yeah. So, okay. Going once, twice? Good? Okay. 8:26, close the planning and zoning meeting.
What time?
7:26.
Oh, it says 8:26. Well, I guess it is.
Well, we did have a
Time's
time
wrong.
change.
Well, you should look at the other times I gave you, because I read them off of here. Make sure they're right.
The other time's right.
Okay.
That was the only one that threw me for a loop.
Yes, it says 8:27. So
We've
in
been
Strand
adjourned.
Dike,